Hello everyone, this is Yashas Joshi. Today I'll be going through a demo for the Seafarers. This is one of the main applications from the project IMR Culture. In this application, the user travels back in time and sets a sail through the Eastern Mediterranean during the classical period as the captain of an ancient merchant ship. The journey starts from the port of Piraeus, making its way to different places in the region from Athens to the lost port of Thonis Heraklion in Egypt. The application also accounts for several weather patterns and other dangers to increase the difficulty for the users. They'll also have to carefully manage their supplies to transport wares from one port to another. Upon arrival, they'll have to maximize the profits by observing local industries and trade accordingly to their advantage. The application currently is available on Windows and Android platforms. Now diving into the application, our users will be welcomed with this home screen. Here, each of them will have two choices. Either they'll opt to host a new game or enter the IP and port to join the existing. In our case, we'll host a new game. Now if the user has already played the game before, he'll also get an option to continue the old game and start a new one. Let's create a new game. As we can see in this pop-up note, the application takes into consideration some of the major events that took place during the period of 460 to 480 BCE. For this application, these major events are divided into 5 different eras. Here are the 5 eras. Name of each era represents the major event that took place during the given time period. Now, based on the user's selection of era, prices and supplies for certain cargo are adjusted for some particular ports. Let's go for wars in the pre-Macedonic era. Upon the selection of an era, the users are prompted with a short background story. These notes will help in creating a baseline for our story inside our users' minds. It also gives them some information about their past and a hint about how to proceed in the game. Initially, users are given 3 choices of ships from which they can select one. These ships differ in their capacity to hold cargo and especially the supplies for its crew members. Upon selecting the ship, the user is then taken to this main interface of our game. To help users make their first trade, a pop-up will guide them to the closest port, that is Delos. For their reference, users are also provided with a rough map of the ports around the region of Athens and Cyprus. The boundary in this map shows the shores, while the area in between is the sea. Okay, now as we can see that we have this red contour around our player's ship. Well, this is the farthest distance that a player can cover on that particular day. Based on the specific input conditions, the shape and size of this contour is calculated by our GeoServer that is located at the Photogrammetry Vision Lab at the Cyprus University of Technology. As I mentioned earlier, the application accounts for weather and other dangers such as the depth of the sea at any particular position. These things are taken into consideration while calculating the shape and size of this contour. Based on the user's cursor movements, the application also calculates the shortest path from the player's current position to where the mouse is currently pointing. This happens in real time. We use algorithms like A* and its certain heuristics to predict this shortest path. Based on the weather data from the server, speed of sail is also calculated. That is, ships will move faster with the wind while slower against it. Now, let's proceed to our first port, that is Delos. As we can see, every move that the player makes with their ship results in consumption of a small amount of its supplies. This amount depends on the distance and time that the ship will take to cover any particular distance. This amount is also displayed while hovering the cursor inside our contour. In the case where a player is about to run out of supplies, the application will show a pop-up giving a warning to the player. There are two ways to come out of this situation. Either the player can ask its closest island for extra supplies, which will come at a cost, or they can reach any port and get the supplies for free. Now as the ship approaches the port, a visit button is shown at the bottom of the screen. This button will take us to the market of that port, where the user can then make trades and get their supplies. So this is a simple market or trading interface. On the left we have our cargo showing all the items that we have, while on the right we have the items that are being sold at the port. As we can see that the price for our olive oil is showing high and the upwards arrow on the sell button is green. This is because the item is currently expensive on this port, and if we sell it, we can make some good profit out of it. On the other hand, we can see the buy button on the port's market for quarry stone shows a red zero. This means that the item is currently expensive at this port, and it's probably not a good idea to buy it from here. Remember, our main motive is to maximize the profit and collect as much gold as we can. Okay, now let's grab our supplies, make some profit, and get out of here. One thing, if you are visiting any port for the first time, you will unlock one tutorial video after you leave the market. A tutorial is an informative video that we made regarding a random topic. In this application, we have a total of 10 tutorial videos explaining navigation techniques, pirates, slaves, commodities, sailing seasons, life on board, etc. etc. These tutorials can be accessed from this tutorial button on the left bottom of the screen. Once a tutorial is unlocked, it will be saved and displayed in this menu until you start a new game. These videos serve the purpose of motivating the user to explore more and more new ports. Let's see how the tutorial we just unlocked looks like.
A road, a mountain, a river, a house, a castle, a city. That is what one can find on land. But what is there in the sea? Are there routes and reference points in the sea?
The answer is yes. We sailors orient ourselves in relation to the coast and landmarks.
So it's a simple video which continues for a couple more minutes, so I cancelled it. To unlock the tutorial videos, of course, users will have to make an effort and visit as many ports as they can. Okay, so we also have this settings tab where a simple user interface explanation can be found. Users can find the main game objective here, whereas they can also control the volume for the entire game from this settings tab. There's also a quit button in case the user wants to leave the game. Okay, so next to this settings button, by clicking this about button, users can go through all the credits and can find out more about the game. Lastly, apart from all this, I want to show you one last thing that happens when the users run out of supplies and are not close to any island or port from where they can get the resupply. So, after the supplies warning, they can still make one last move in order to save this ship before the crew members lose consciousness or stage a mutiny. That is, of course, game over. Thank you for your time.